I just don't want to take a risk. Okay, so the recording started because it's the midterm review. Okay, at least finally the problem got solved. So first of all, a quick announcement about the midterm. Cody and Renzo, both of you are missing. Hopefully you're going to watch the video lecture. The exam, midterm exam, is on Monday next week, which is week 7 day 1. Okay, so that's the first very important announcement. If you miss that day, then you will miss the midterm. Okay, so don't do that. Let me know if you have any issue. All right, so the agenda for today's class is obviously just talk a little bit about the exam, and then I have a new topic to talk about, which is the Excel import output. Okay, importing Excel out, exporting Excel, how to do that. I mean, talk about the exam midterm, not that much I have over there. All I can do is just type what are the topics that I did cover. I can entertain any questions that you have that you are facing. That's pretty much it, right? All right, let's start then. So let's start, everyone. So title. All right, we're gonna do exam review and Excel data import, export. Okay, title description, review for exam 1 and learn about data input and output. So you can say user defined as well. So the main code, you can put a name, email, all sorts of things that we usually do, and then start with CLC, clear, close all. All right, all right, so then let's talk a little bit about the exam. First of all, what are the topics of the exams? So exam 1, the content, week 1 through week 5. Okay, like the last topics, right? Okay, so what are the topics? So in week 1, we did learn intro to Octave and creating scripts, right? Week 2, we did learn build in functions in Octave. Week 3, we learn matrices. In Octave or MATLAB, right? Week 4, we did learn plotting. All right, week 6, okay, week 5. Week 5, we learn user defined functions. All right, and week 6, we're going to learn input, outputs, and Excels. Okay, that thing is not in the exam, so I'm not going to put it over there. So the structure of the exam. So we're going to have multiple choice, and also questions, where you produce code in Octave and submit it. You're going to have 110 minutes to finish. It is okay. It is open notes. Open notes means only class notes. And the homeworks.
So like the stuff we typed?
The stuff you typed and the homework that you submitted.
You can have that open?
Huh?
You can have that open?
Yeah. Not any other things. All right. Okay. Any question? That's it. That's about the midterm. And now I did talk about even the user-defined function in last class. You guys remember heavily? So I don't feel like doing the same discussion again. I mean, those who missed the class, in last class we had the big chat on that. Please come talk with me before the exam. I can review it with one more time with you sometimes this week. This is just a midweek, like Wednesday today. We have Thursday and Friday. More than welcome to talk about anything on this topic that you're seeing with me. That's the most difficult one, user-defined function. On plotting, I did talk about the plotting as well, right, Ben? All those things. Midterm review are kind of done already. The matrices, I didn't talk that much, but I can talk now. The matrices is like, if you remember, all the details like, how many rows, how many columns, how to define them, right? How to specify any individual element of any matrix, right? Those are the things that we learned, right? How to create a matrix from a matrix or from multiple matrix, right? That's the thing we learned. Sorry. That's the thing we learned, right? What else we learned in matrix? We did learn how to do the transposing of a matrix. We did learn using a matrix doing plotting as well, right? What else? Transpose. Remember the transpose, say like if you have a row, how to make it a column. If you have a column, how to make it a row. Yeah, that's called transpose. It's like single inverted comma. That's what you gotta use in the matrix, okay? Anything that you can think of that I should be discussing? How to define a unit matrix, how to define a diagonal matrix, how to define a ones matrix, right? What is the purpose of them, right? I did talk all about it, right? Why do you even bother doing that, right? Anything? Okay, maybe not, right? The built-in functions, remember on that class what did we learn? The square root function, right? The sine, cos, sine d, cos t, tan d, tan, all those things, right? There's so many other functions as well, like the absolute function ABS, right? This other thing we learned as well. All right, any other question with the exam? And then first class, we did start with like a basic thing like in October MATLAB, how to do the simple manipulation like defining variables, right? How to add them up, how to multiply them, all sorts of things, other things we learn. Those are very basic stuff, right? Things get a little complicated when they use a different function k, right? And things will be even more complicated what I'll be covering today, where we'll be dealing with the Excel file. So I'll be giving you an Excel file. Remember, everybody downloaded that Excel file, like the grades, right? Why don't all of you open that Excel file? You'll be seeing there are like bunch of data there. Obviously, different data for different data are in different columns. So if you are given it an Excel file and how to import this data in MATLAB or Octave, and once you have those data imported, how to work with those data, right? Those are the things we'll be learning today. So that's our agenda actually, the main agenda. Exam review wise, as I said in last class, I did already quite a bit of review. Unless if you have any question, I'd like to address it. If you don't, then I'd like to simply move on. Three of you, does anyone of you have any question with the exam? It's like simple, straightforward multiple choice question. You'll be seeing like almost 30% points, right, on the multiple choice questions, like around 10 questions. And those multiple choice questions are related with whatever I covered in class. This is an example. Say like, I did talk about how to create a file name, right? Like in file name, there can't be any symbols. So you would be probably provided with some example, like multiple choice question, like 4 of them. You're gonna pick the right way or which is wrong or something like that. Those sort of important stuff. It's not necessarily only those theory kind of thing. You would have experienced like some kind of code as well, like where you could possibly run a small code in the control window and get the answer from it. It makes sense? Small code, very small, maybe 1 line code or something. Okay, so like you'd be probably given it a matrix, right? And then from that matrix you were asked to find something. Okay, small code that you gotta like. So that's another thing I'd like to highlight. So not necessarily you have to write the code in the editor. If you have something very small, say like you'd like to know 2 plus 2 equal to what, right? 1 and 2, you are simply type it in the command window, right? It will gonna give you the value of 4, answer equal to 4. That's the way you've seen it before. So those sort of things you may have to do like for the multiple choice questions, right? But when it comes to the actual code, like there are like so many other questions, like some short questions and long questions as well, 70% points. So on that one, the clear instructions will be on the questions anyway, but I'm just giving you a heads up. On that one, you gotta open an editor file, and then you're gonna create that file name, and the question is gonna tell you what could be the file name, right? There will be some instructions, and then there will be multiple questions that you have to address. Some short questions, some long questions, 1 long questions, and some short questions. Okay. And short questions, the question we're going to ask you, okay, if there's a matrix, do something like this with that matrix, right? So you're going to answer that. And then my suggestion would be, try to run every time. If it doesn't run for any reason, whatever reason, you may do mistake, right? An exam. If it doesn't run, then move on. That means the ultimate code will not going to run, okay? But it's all right. If a segment of the code is not running, it's fine. But if it's part of the main editor, then when you're gonna every time try to run it, the other code, whatever is running, it will not gonna run. So you're gonna probably getting frustrated, right? So my suggestion would be maybe open another editor to copy that code that is running and then see if it is running. If you don't want to do it that way, the other way could be like copy that code, that segment of the code, put it in the command window and see if it's running, right? If you don't like to put it in another editor. Bottom line, if any segment of the code is not running, means one part of the question is not running, say like question number 3 is not running, maybe all other question is running, but because of question number 3, maybe like nothing will gonna run. So don't get frustrated because of that. Okay, we understand what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't feel like there is anything else for me to discuss at the exam. Do you have any question?
Oh yeah, so like you said, like if question 3 is not working, like how would we know if question 4 is right? If we can't figure
Yeah,
it out?
so my suggestion would be, as I'm saying, like copy the question 4 once you're done with the writing, put it in the command window, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then see, I mean, in command window is like a wonderful thing. You can write a small thing and see if it's running and then copy it and put it in the main code, okay? That's what I used to do when as a grad student. did I say, like, on my PhD thesis, I'm experimentalist, but I had to write a very big long code in MATLAB. Okay, so I used to do it that all the time. I used to put it in the command window. I used to run it and see if it's working. Then only I was gonna add it to the main code. Okay, otherwise it's very difficult to find the main code error. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That was my technique. You may follow or not, doesn't matter. But any questions so far? It was good. All right, so the real thing, right? The actual thing. Let me open my class note. All right, seems like everybody's ready, right? So actual topic for today's class. So user-defined inputs. Let's start with that. Not the Excel first, okay? Let me first teach you some of the user-defined inputs, okay? So what I'm saying about that, saying like the user-defined inputs. So like you'd like to ask some input from the user, whoever is using your program, right? We did it all the time with all the apps that you are using. You always have something to type, right? And then based on your typing, something showed up, right? So if your code does have something from the user that you want, how to do that? There is a function, it's called input. Okay, you're going to use that input function. Okay, on that input function, you're going to type under this double quote. Remember, Ethan, double quote, whatever you type, it's going to show up, right? So under this double quote, you're going to type whatever you like to display when the code is going to run to the user, and then user will going to, based on the display, that user will going to put the value on that. Does it make sense? So like the input function in the double quote, you're going to say what's your height, right? And then in the display, you're going to show that what's your height thing, and then you're going to basically plug the value of the height. Make sense? So this kind of thing we're going to learn first, and then we're going to use it. We're going to use it with the Excel. Okay, so user-defined function. So user-defined input. So example problems. Say like you would like to find the position of a free falling object given some time. Okay, so the note, the next lines demonstrate user defined inputs, but we will be commenting them out later. So G is equal to input. Remember the user defined function that I was saying, and then you're going to put enter the acceleration due to gravity. Now we know the acceleration due to gravity is what? Anybody remember? 9.81. Now this is for the Earth, right? But who knows what the problem you're solving? You're solving it for Moon or other planets, then the G would be completely different. So that's the question you may obviously ask, right? And then what is going to happen when I'm going to ask this question? You can run it and see. So this is week 6 lecture 2 exam review and Excel user defined input. Okay, I'm saving it first. Okay, I run it, right? And then in the command window, It's asking me enter the acceleration due to gravity, and then this forward slash n, don't worry, I'm gonna put it back to the code shortly, but the forward slash n, that's very important thing that I'd like to cover here. That forward slash n is for MATLAB, okay? That means the cursor is gonna blink in the next line. In Octave it doesn't work, I don't know whatever reason it doesn't work, but you'd like to learn it, right? What the forward slash n means. Make sense? In MATLAB, it is gonna move the cursor blinking in the next line. Now you gotta plug the values of when it is asking you the value. It's like 9.81, right? So now what happened? You see here in the workspace you have a g variable showed up. Everybody see that? And that 9.881 showed up for that variable. It's good. Okay. So instead of me doing it that way, tell me something like, can you guys see it better? Or do you want me to make it even bigger? A little bit?
So you saved it and ran it?
Yeah, so you save it and run it. Everybody see that? Jason, you see that? Do you want me to make it any bigger? It's fine. It's fine? All right. It was good so far? Jason, you're good? Should I move on? Perfect, right? Okay. Moving on. So G is done. Let me put some note. So the line above is going to prompt user to enter a value, which you have seen, right? And then the other note that I do have is for the forward slash n, and that is again is true for MATLAB, not Octave. Okay, forward slash n supposed to move the cursor to the following lines. However, it is not working. Okay. All right. So then let's explore a little bit more. Say like you are trying to define a matrix T, right? Remember the T matrix, like you had this interval of 0.1 or 1 and then initial value and final value. Everybody remember that, right? We oftentimes define the T matrix, the 0 and 10 or 0, 20, 0, 30. T is the second, right, Ben? Remember the T matrix? All right. What if instead of you giving the final value, initial value, or the increment, you are asking that values from the user, right? You want to do that. So you want to use the input function, right? That's all. So that's the thing that we'll be doing here. So T0, you are asking the input from the user, and then you are saying enter the initial time, and then /n again, which by the way in Octave it will gonna not work, but in MATLAB it will gonna work. But you would like to learn it. So TF, which is input again, and then enter the final time, so input is a function that prompt the user for a value with the text string that we enter. Okay. All right. I'd say like you have a highlighted line, right? You'd like to comment, make it a comment. So there is a shortcut for that. You can use control R, okay, control T. All right, everything's good so far? Okay, then let me focus on the analysis. So you have a T matrix just like before you defined. So TO colon 0.1 colon TF. You have this TO and TF. Those values are asking from the user, and then you are say like defining a D where this D matrix is defined equal minus 0.5. That's the distance D multiplied by G multiplied by T square. Now if you try this code, it will not gonna work. Why? Anyone? I'm missing something. Yes, thank you. If you don't remember that in the exam, you're gonna have very hard time. Okay, that dot is so important. All right, and then obviously you would like to put the units here, second, and then say this is your time matrix, and then you'd like to put a unit here, meter, say like this is your matrix of vertical distance, and then figure 1, then you'd like to plot what you're plotting, the time matrix and D matrix, and then you literally put any dimension like the line width, font style, font type, all those things that you learn in plotting, okay, which I'll be skipping that, but I'm gonna put the X level and the Y level. So the X level I'm gonna put the time and the unit is meter, and I'm gonna put the Y level, and I'm gonna put the Y level as the distance fallen, and it's in meter as well. Okay, now you're gonna save it, and when you're gonna run the code, three prompts will gonna come to you. Okay, first prompt, one by one the prompt will gonna come. The first prompt it will gonna ask you about the G value, then you're gonna obviously put 9.81. The second prompt it will gonna ask you what's your initial time for the time matrix, then you're gonna put whatever, like 0 second or 1 second, 5 second, whatever. And then it will gonna prompt the second one is the TF of final time. Once you're gonna enter that value as well, then the time matrix is gonna get created, and the D value is gonna get created to set distance, by the way, with this equation. And then the plot will gonna get done, and then you're gonna have the X level, Y level, and you're gonna have the final plot. Okay. Another thing I'd like to highlight in the exam, you do want to use this GCX. Remember how to change the size of the font in the x-axis and the y-axis. Remember, so go to that class, and then you'll be seeing that command over there. How to change the size, the font size. Okay. Otherwise, it may look that small, really small. Okay, is it running for you? Just run the code. Okay. running for you, Jason?
It was a second ago.
Okay, go to command window, see.
That's what I did.
What is the error history?
I like type this. I don't think it's on. It's common.
Is it running for you? Not.
No. It says like a valid call from script. But it says something wrong with the G. Yeah, it says
The G was working, right?
it says to enter the acceleration, but then it says invalid call. Do I enter it here? The one with the typing here.
Yeah, you got to type something.
That's how
It's not giving me an option. Like the error came out immediately. The same thing happened for three of you, right? It did run me before though. I don't know what is happening. Let me see. So run the code. Okay, in my case it's running. It entered the acceleration, it's 9.81. And then it's asking the initial time. So like 0 and 10. And you see, in my case it's running clearly. You want to do this thing like, take out this /n for all the cases.
slash n, take it out.
Yeah, /n. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do. I don't know, whatever reason it's not running in your case. Let's try. Is the d value you put the equation correctly?
Yeah. It says my errors before that though.
Before, right? Like somewhere here.
It says it's the G. No, it says mine says it's the G.
So did you put like t0 or to?
Oh wait, no, I think I just got it. Yeah, see, now I got it.
That could be the issue. It could be to, not the 0. If you're going to type t0, then you might have any issue.
Oh, wait. So take out the n. Oh.
Yeah, /n, take out the /n.
Oh, it's because we did that control, right?
So now, is it working?
Yeah, that's, I got the G.
Yeah,
over
click
it.
on the command window.
I got the G over it. So it's 9.8.
Yeah, it's working. You have to click on the command window. So
No, it was before, it was this, remember when you did the control R and whatever, I still had this line was green.
Oh, that was the issue.
Yeah.
So there is this control R and control T, those two
yeah.
shortcut in MATLAB that you can use to comment and uncomment. Obviously in Octave it doesn't work, so that's why.
I didn't change it back to.
Oh yeah.
So the TO is.
It's running for you though right now, Jason.
Yeah. What is what's the TO? Oh, the final time.
The final, it's up to you. That's the beauty of this input function. Anything that you wanna put, you have to put the final time. Okay, just run it again.
Why would it ask for the final time first when the initials?
Oh, okay, your initial was not showing?
That's why I was asking.
Okay, I got it now. The initial should be showing.
Let's try it.
No, you're typing here,
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You got a space for the TO.
Shouldn't be matter.
Still got a space in it.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. And yeah, put the initial time. And the 10. So there's few things that can help you a bit. First of all, the MATLAB does work the /n. That we're going to move the cursor down. But here it's not working. Octave it doesn't work. I don't know. Okay, so that's why I'm teaching you here. Okay, the other thing maybe you'd like to put a. Okay, you did put it. Maybe you'd like to put a semicolon here, so you don't like to show all the T, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That was good. Let me move on, right? You guys want a break? Please take a break. I mean, it's like especially for Jason. Jason is taking long class. All right, just take a break, okay? Take a break for 5 minutes.
Dude, I swear to God. I understand it. I'm just the nitty gritty syntax that I think is just because I tried
Yeah,
looking
like
at it.
I get the general idea. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, but this one looks kick ass.
Just no problem solved on that other class. What happened? Tell me.
I have. So we'll do the exact same way again. The way you told me to do it, right? Except this time, the diameter of that circle up top is smaller than the other.
Could it be the order in which you move things for the calculator?
You have the base, like the way I said, right? And it's still the diameter.
I started drawing it again.
Yeah. You have to catch it.
I haven't done
Mine
mine.
in the class. How many catch it? Okay, you remember all the dimensions? So like the bottom was like 12, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
then the
well,
4, and then the 1.6, and then the other one I forgot. The height was.
This is what it ended up being like the other time.
Do you have the actual drawing?
No. Well, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking a chair.
That's okay.
It's just for a second. You're not getting older. I can't. Sorry, I don't want to mess up with you. Just a second. Can you please get
Yeah,
it?
that's fine.
I need to stand for a second.
Me and Jason are working on something.
I'm sitting all day.
Yes, the drawing. So you have these 12. This 700. Okay, did I show it to you?
Yeah, I just don't remember it. Just like
Dim
dim-
step.
Yeah.
Dim step. You like this? Is it 1.6? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's 1.6? Yeah, that's the part. We gotta figure out how far it needs to go. See, this is 4, right? So, and this is
total.
this is 18 total. So you subtract 4 from 18, so like 14, right? So from 14, you now subtract 4.1, which
So
is
13.9.
huh? 4.1 from 14.
Oh, from 14. 9.1.
Right? Because this outside is equal to 4.1, right? Right?
Yeah.
So 4.1, you have the 14 here, right? So 9.9, right? That's right. Very good. So 9.9. one is this one will work. It's 8.2. 8.2? 8.2. This one? This is supposed to be 9.9? Now this line, the value is it's 12 here. Is off.
Unless that's not 1.6 there, it should be, that's how it should be, but.
This quotient coefficient. That's the quotient coefficient. What is the derivative? We are getting we're getting
Forest was still
oh yeah.
So that should be.
No, that is not 18. That like we gotta add this 4.1.
Oh, yeah.
So from here. 13.9, that is correct. So we have 4.9 over there, right? So 4.1 over there, right? So 18. So that is correct. So that the issue that I'm having here, that is clearly, I guess the drawing is wrong. That's what we're not doing. And I've noticed. So you see, there's no problem with that. That is 8.2. Okay. So I am now 100% certain. So this drawing, it is not exactly this is not 1.8. This is not 1.6 for sure. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is more than
So
that.
that's the problem.
That's what the problem. This could be 1.7. That's the only solution I have. Otherwise, you see, there's this gap here, right? So let me tell you where is that now. Here to here. 2.2, 1.6. So the difference between 1.6 to 2.2, that needs to be moved from here to here. So basically 1.6 and 2.2. So like 0.6, 0.3x, so 1.9. This both sides needs to be 1.9, right? So basically what it means, we gotta have this. We gotta have this 1.9, right? That's the point. And this whole thing needs to be moved. So choose. That's point. Still, still, this is not connecting. It is all right. We're going to do the explode, right? And then we're going to create a line. Yeah. There's no 1.9. So there definitely there is a typo here. There's no way around. So this can be should, and then we can do that. Actually, some of the students are saying that it doesn't match. It's not the student mistake, it's the problem mistake. Okay. I mean, I'm glad I'm not giving you the exam. The question I'm giving you the exam, I did draw myself.
Okay.
So it is all right. Okay.
I was gonna say, 'cause I haven't been struggling until today, and all of a sudden it's not lining up.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you figured it out and you're persistent. I don't know how everybody else got it. I mean, it seems like they got everything 1.6 and everything. I don't know. I gotta
If
check.
I didn't check the dimensions and their circle's probably wrong like mine was.
No, they have all the dimensions exactly like that. Yeah, have to check into it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what? See, these can be changed. I guess that's the big thing. So these can be changed. So fill it, right? So fill it. You change the radius to 6, I guess. Then that's what we do.
Okay.
This is still 1.6, but there is extension. But in the figure, there is no extension. Are you seeing an extension? Maybe there is. But this is not for sure. This is not for 1.6. That is going to confuse. That is going to confuse it. Ben, Ethan is probably mad at me. What? Understand? Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
I'm sorry, Ben. Go ahead. Oh, this is
This
it.
one, yeah.
What is that, vector?
No, AutoCAD. Yeah.
It's
Jason was struggling with something, and then we were trying to resolve it. This get resolved now, Jason? You have no more confusion, right? Jason, you're good now, right?
Yeah, I should be good.
All right, perfect. All right, so everybody have this plot as well, so that is perfect. Let me go to my notes. Now we're gonna go a little bit more detail. Okay, input function, you learned it. Okay, so the next thing would be we're gonna learn something more like a display function. Okay, DISP display function. We're gonna learn fprintf. That is so important in exam. I don't know if I may have put the fprintf. Okay, if the fprintf is there, then you can ignore it because that's not part of the syllabus, right? If I have the fprintf function is very important. Okay, we're going to see it shortly. The display function is also very important. We're going to see it shortly. So those are the things we're going to learn, the other two functions. Okay. All right, let's start. So first, the output options. So let me put the title first. Your goal is to find how far the object has fallen after a specific amount of time. Okay. And use the outputs to show the distance. All right. So output options. Start with say like time equal input. You would like to get an input from the user. The time is a new function that you are calling. The input that you are asking, what time do you want? Okay. At what time do you want the object to be fallen? Like, you know, that's the time you are asking the user. And then you'd like to define a new variable called distance, and then you'd like to put the same equation as 0.5 multiplied g multiplied this time square. And I didn't put a dot before this square. Why? What the power sign? Why I didn't put a dot? Why I had a dot before?
Because it was in the wrong variable.
As a single digit variable. Before I had a matrix, right? Does it make sense? But does it mean like if you put a dot then it is not gonna work? It will still work. So dot, no dot, it will work for this case. But previously it will not gonna work because it was a matrix. Anytime you have a matrix, you must need to put a dot before the power sign. All right, so you're done with that, and then obviously you'd like to put a semicolon, and now you'd like to display the results. Okay, so the disp function or the display function, shortcut this. So display, what you'd like to display? You'd like to display the position at that time. What time? the time that you just entered, right, is you'd like to put a display function again and then simply type distance. You don't have to put a single quote this time because distance itself is a what? Is a variable, right? So you'd like to save it. And kind of run the whole thing again and then say like 5 seconds. Okay, error F. Oh, this thing. It should be G. I had a typo here. Now it should be running. You can see it 9.81010. Okay, what time do you want? Like the 5. Now the position at that time is minus 122.62. Is that the result everybody got?
I got an error. I'm not done.
Okay, my code is running, so that means just see where the problem is. And if you
Oh, I
still
don't
getting
care.
the error, let me know. I'm gonna troubleshoot it code.
What happens to the G?
Yeah, you do that before too.
Oh, there's this G. That's my bad. I typed wrong. Save it. Anytime you do update, you save it first, okay?
That does automatically.
Yeah, I know. Okay, then. Okay. Perfect. Is it running for you, man? Try it. No. Click. Yeah. Click again.
Click.
5. It's running. Alright, so then another way of display function, let me teach you that. So use this disp and then put the position at that time is and then number to string. So that's a command, num2str. That's called number to string. So on that command, you put that function argument as distance, and then put a comma, and then put the unit. I'll explain it, just 1 second. Alright, so what is happening here? So you are still using the display function. Now in the display function, you have 2 strings. String means 2 characters, right? In the left side, you have single quote. Anytime you have single quote, write whatever you are writing, okay? It will going to display as it is. Make sense? So you have the first single quote shows the position at that time is, there is this space, right? So this is going to get showed, and then what position, right? Then this distance. Remember that distance variable that you had, you're going to use the distance variable, which is minus 122, whatever you've seen before, right? So you're going to use that distance variable to this function called number to string. All right, num means number, to string. str means short string. Okay, so basically what is happening, it is gonna display the number, that 122, from the variable distance. Okay, and then we'd like to show the unit again. So after that number, that the unit obviously is meter, is a string, right? So you'd like to put it under single quote. Is it running for you? See if it's running for you. Is it running for you, Ben? See, that's the last line I'd like to highlight. You should be seeing something similar, right?
Yeah. I got
So,
that.
so what happened here basically, you see, from this point to this point, that was your first single quote, right? And this point to this point, that was your second single quote. Okay? And the number that you're seeing here, that's the distance. So you have to use this number to string function, display it here. Okay? That's the thing that I was saying. Okay, so there are some syntax you must have to follow that. Anytime you have this, like the single quote done, right? The single quote done here, you'd like to put this comma. Do you see that? And then this number to string function done, put a comma here. If you don't do that, you won't be getting the results. So all those things, as I said, explained, part of the syntax. Okay. Now let's start with the fprintf function. Okay. So formatted, and that one is something similar to display function what you had before, right? So that's a very important thing. From this point on to the end of the semester, you'll be using this fprintf all the time. All the time means all the time. Okay, so very important function. Remember that. And once I'm going to start typing fprintf, some of the application you'll be seeing, you'll realize soon. Okay, and the fprintf function, what I'll be doing, I'll be kind of doing the same thing, but not like a display function. That is more friendly, user friendly, the fprintf. So the position at that time is, and then I'm gonna do this percentage of f. I don't have to put a comma and then use the number to string function, then comma again, and then for the unit the single quote. All those problem or the extra work that I did, I don't have to do it for fprintf. All I got to do, instead of number to string, I just have to type whatever that pointer is, percentage of f. And it could be percentage of different thing that we'll be using over the time, but percentage of f is the most common one. Okay, and then let me finish that. Then I'm gonna obviously put the unit. Now you see the benefit of that. In previous line we had this meter unit and the position at the time, those are separated by comma and the single quotes and all sorts of things, right? Now I just have the percentage of f. Now here's the thing, that percentage of f that you just have written over there, right? That you're gonna create a pointer for a variable. What variable that you'd like to display here? Obviously the distance, right? So now you've got to put that display, you've got to put the distance variable somewhere inside the fprintf. The way you want to do it, after the single quote is done, you're going to put a comma and then you'd like to simply type the variable name, which is distance in this case. Understand? Understand, Rita? So just put a comma and then write distance, finish the parenthesis, then run it, then it will going to run it. Okay? Let me show it to you. So you're gonna have after the single inverted comma, after that single quote, okay, distance, and then that's it. You don't have to do anything. Okay, just save it, and then you're gonna run it, and the same thing we're gonna show it to you. That whatever the display function showed it to you. Let me go here in the command window. Let me start to type 9.8, 1, 0, and 10. Okay, and then 5 again here. Okay, fprintf. I'm sorry, the f is missing. fprintf. Okay, I'm sorry, this time it was going to work. I had the F was, there is a typo. Let me highlight that. See if this thing typed correctly in your end. If it doesn't type correctly in your end, then it will not going to work.
F print F or F print?
The one is correct. F print F. Let me see. Now it's showing. See that? This shows for the same way. Okay, the notes that I have here for you guys, the percentage sign is a placeholder, as I was explaining, right? Where these notes are very important, where the value of the variable will be displayed. Okay, so the F after the percentage sign is a format type. So the other format type means the data type, right? The other options include E, G, C, S. Now I didn't use all of them. I used S at one time for string, but the other thing, if you'd like to learn more, just use it in the command window help, then it should be showing you more, or you can Google it as well, right? Any question? You understand what it's referring, right? This percentage of F, that percentage of F is the placeholder for the variable distance. So instead of percentage of F, you could have percentage of S, percentage of C, percentage of, you know, whatever. So now other thing you'll be you'll learn later, which is this percentage of F, you can specify the number of decimal places. So like you can say possibly 0.01 F, percentage of 0.01 F. That is going to specify 2 decimal places, okay? Something that we're going to learn later. Any question with the F printf? This F printf is so important. We're using it all the time.
What exactly is this here?
The F printf is to display the result, okay? Now remember, so far whenever you had any computation done in Octave or MATLAB, if you would like to explore the value of that computed value, you do it two ways. One is type the variable name in the command window manually after the program run happened, or you display it in a plot, right? That was two standard way. What if you would like to display the result like in the command window once the program is run done, okay, and you'd like to display like what is the position of that, like whatever in this case you have that the object fallen after a few seconds, right? What is the position, like, and you'd like to display, right? So then the F printf comes in handy, okay, very important function. You don't have to type you don't have to type in the command window the variable distance to see what is the distance, and even if you type the variable distance, as a programmer you may know just because you write it right away, the program. Maybe you don't even know after 1 year what to do, like what is distance, right? Does it make sense? So maybe you would like to see it, what is the distance as like this way, like on the command window when the program run done. Okay, that's why this F printf is so important.
So
You
this
understand?
is just showing
This is showing
the answer
the answer
in the kind of
in the command
instead
window.
of a plot or
Yes, instead of the plot, or you being manually type the variable name. Okay, and now it probably sounds so silly like we're dealing with just one simple variables, right? But obviously you understand it can be the application is huge. It can be applicable for so many variables, as many variables as you want, right? For as many percentage of F as you want, as many lines as you want. You may have after the end of the program, if you have a very big program, you may have a very big display where so many things, possibly the whole summarized thing can come out, right? So that's why this F printf is so important. You may want to write multiple percentage of F even on the same F printf, right? You know that. So that's why it's so important. All right, after the F printf, my notes is loaded. Right here. Okay. Ooh. Okay, let me give you some more notes. As I said, like, this is very important. Okay, so this can control more things with fprintf, specifically how the variable gets displayed using the width and precision fields. As an example, percentage of 2.3f. What does it mean? So this means 2 before the decimal is the width field. In other words, that means number of spaces allocated for the variable to be presented. And this 3 after the decimal is the precision field. In other words, that means number of decimal places. Okay, now this fprintf okay, let me apply it. So position is percentage of 8.2 f meter, and then I'm gonna use after comma distance. And there's another place students do mistake. Distance, student do mistake is like, you see, after the single quote done, they forgot to put the comma. So make sure you put a comma. And distance is a variable. For a variable, you don't have to put a single quote. Okay, so that's another place people do mistake. And then you'd like to display the result, the same distance result, right? So if you leave off the width field, it will auto size. What does it mean? So like this fprintf, again you are using, and then you are possibly writing the same thing. Position is percentage of 0.1 f, the unit, and then comma distance. Okay, so then you can run it. I know I did type a lot of things already. So when you're going to run it, you're gonna see some interesting aspect of it. So first of all, the distance variable, if it does have multiple decimal places value, for this last two fprintf that I wrote, for those two functions, for the first one you will have two decimal places, and the last one, that fprintf, will gonna give you the result with one decimal places. Okay, and here the note obviously says, you see, if you don't have a like in the first case you have 8, right? If you leave the width field empty, okay, then it will gonna auto size. Okay, so what does it mean? You're gonna run it and you're gonna see it better. So to save it and run it. Click over here again. Now you see the last two. So here initially you had, like, 3 decimal places accuracy. Now you have 2 decimal places. Now you have 1 decimal places. Okay? Yes. So here I remember the fprintf is /n words. So you want to do /n. In MATLAB it does work for all of them. In Octave for some reason. Well, yeah, line by line. Okay. So always save it. Okay. So yeah, fprintf /n works. Okay, so you see, and this, I think you are missing the CLC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good practice to start with the header. You're going to lose point in exam if you don't put the header and comments. Okay. Clear? Save it. All right. Everyone got it so far? Uh, Please add /n for fprintf. Anytime you have a fprintf, /n was working. Uh, that's only true for fprintf function, but for display function it doesn't work. Okay, and there is a reason you want to put that /n. You'll be seeing it shortly. Okay, and then save this. You see, why did I use the /n? The /n, after I'm done with the code, inside the single quote. Okay, and that /n, what does it do? It is gonna move the cursor to the next line. Make sense? You see, I put /n on every fprintf. And I think like I should be stopped here because the Excel file. Let me wait till Cody come. Okay, hopefully he doesn't have any serious issue happening. Um, the Excel thing. Let me wait for him. Okay, and because we just had a exam review thing as well, that should be enough. So what did we learn today? Basically, the display function, the fprintf function, right? The input functions. So those are the three functions that we learned today, and we talked about the exam review as well. So these are the summary for today's class. Anyway, does it run for you, all of you? If it's run for you, you can go. I mean, if you don't have any other questions. So let me check if it's run for me as well. So I go to the command window 9.81. So initial time 0, 10, 5. Yep, it's running for me as well. Ben is running for you?
Yeah.
Ethan is running for you? /n is working for you? If that's the case, and you might have seen that, I do update the grades all the time, so grades should be alright, right? There shouldn't be any issue with the grading. And as I said before, in homeworks, usually the way I do grade is like I take a glance on it, I see like if you have all the course for all the questions and all the comments, then I give the full points. Okay, but in exam, okay, just want to be very clear about it. In exam, I do run every code, every line, everything that you write. So be very serious during the exam, okay? What you're doing. Each and every word that you're gonna type, I'm gonna read through it in exam, okay? All right, and I guess from this point on, you don't have to do, even though even if I say anytime like you're gonna do handwork, you don't have to do handwork. Okay, handwork means like the solving it by hand. Okay, you just type the code. So that's it. Does anyone have any question?
Yes.
Yes, what's up?
What is the
Number to string. Number
what
to
does that
string.
mean again?
So it's just converting the distance variable value to a number. So it is actually, anytime it shows you the value of the distance, it shows you the value as a number to you, right? But still, it's saved as a string. It's a little bit tricky to understand. I mean, that's what I have explored when last time I explored. But you can get more info about it by just simply putting that number to string or num to string in the command window. It is going to give you the detail. Okay, and if you're gonna Google it, it is gonna give you more examples and everything. Is it giving the detail? Did you type help?
No.
Yeah, no.
Can I type help in there?
Yeah, anytime you go to type help. Now it will show up. Here's some examples. some of the examples. This example is showing here. If you have like 4 position, then you can use the distributed displaying the matrix. So we have this matrix which has the representative columns. So percentage.
So that would be
One, this one, right? So
what's the 5? What's percent 5?
five is the width. So like there are like these values like 1 is just 1 is used. If 1 if you have like 5 is a million, right? But if you have a more than million value, it will be shown. If you don't want to put the 5, then if you have to decide the width, okay? Yeah, there are more things here, right? The bottom line we will use it over there. And bottom line, I would say like don't even use the display function. I don't use the display function. I use fprintf. Fprintf is so good, right? But if you would like to use it, then use it. So that's why it's for. Okay, let me save this.